Stuart Dill has a very unique perspective on the music business after spending the last 26 years as a personal manager. Now he's taken that experience, along with plenty of imagination, and turned it into his first fiction novel, Murder on Music Row. Lynn caught up with Stuart at a book launch party to celebrate the book's release.
I'm here today with Stuart Dill, and Stuart has just written an amazing novel. And normally, Stuart is a manager on Music Row, and you still are. He's managed artists like Minnie Pearl and Jody Messina, and the list goes on and on. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, Lynn, good to see you in a different role a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Now, how in the world did you find time to do this with your busy schedule?
Well, if you knew how long it took, you wouldn't think that's that impressive. The schedules, we have a taxing day job, but I wrote most of it at night. It was kind of an escape, and a lot of it was written from 10 to 2 in the morning probably, but I've always enjoyed mysteries, and it was just when you read those, it's an escape, and to write it was kind of an escape, so it was just kind of a hobby that got out of control.
Talk a little bit about what inspired you and where all these ideas came from.
Well, as you know, we live in a pretty neat environment, and so, again, I was a fan of the genre, and I just kept thinking through the years, this has been a while since I've had this idea, but, murder mystery within the music industry seemed like a pretty interesting idea, and to drop, I think it was Grisham that said, take an ordinary guy, put him in an extraordinary situation, and see if he can get out, and so I had this idea of dropping an intern, unpaid intern, into the music business, and walking into the crossfire of the politics of the music business with secrets with managers and an artist and a record company, and wonder if he could get out. So that was the idea, and I really kept thinking somebody would write something similar, and I would look in bookstores and nothing would come up that would seem close, and finally I started pecking at it, and it took a while, but here we are.
I also read your thank yous, and your wife had a big role in this with you. Talk a little bit about that, and your children even read through it with you.
They did. It did kind of become a family affair. It's really quite sweet. I would write, really not having the expectations of being published. I would write at night, and then I would get excited for my wife, Madal, who's really been the great cheerleader, to read it and read the pages I'd read in the morning. So we'd have coffee, and she'd read, and she'd get excited, and she'd go write more, and so that happened on and off for a long period of time. And then it was kind of, well, I want to finish, and then my son particularly likes mysteries, and so I wanted to finish it for him, and that was was way before thinking that it would be published, and so that you have these little goals, and so anyway, we did, and he read it, and he was very encouraging, and then Mata was really the one that wanted to say, let's see if somebody can read it for sure to get it published, and so she really was the great encourager. But my daughter's an English major, and so yeah, it became kind of a family thing. It was fun.
What an accomplishment. And do you have plans to write another one? Or are you going to enjoy the...
let's see if we live that long. It's going to take a while with this job, but I have some ideas, and we'll see how this goes. Again, a pretty taxing day job, but, I really did enjoy it. I don't want to stop writing. It's kind of a discipline, not unlike songwriting. It kind of gets into your blood, and you just have this urge to do it. So whether or not I get published again or more books, we'll see, but continue to write for sure.
This has been said that it's a great insider's guide for people that want to know the inside scoop on the industry. Would you say that it's a good guide for that?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I have been asked, a lot of folks in my position have been asked to go to MTSU or to Belmont and speak to some of the music business classes and that sort of thing. It's not a how-to book, but if you read it, you're definitely going to get a sense of how the industry really works. And so there's a bit of a teaching tool without being overt. And, I hope particularly, students and folks that are excited about getting into the music business or want to know more about the music business. And the truth is, in Nashville, too, I've heard some folks say, some early readers have said, we live here, but we don't really see the behind the scenes. And so there is a bit of, I think, interest to really see how the industry works. And hopefully, again, that we got that part right.
All right. It's so good to see you. Congratulations. Everybody make sure you get a copy of Murder on Music Row.
Now it's time for our weekly songwriter tip, brought to you by our friends at Nashville Songwriters Association International. This week we sit down with Richard Helm as he talks about being selective in your pitch.
I think it's important for songwriters to remember that if you're going to pitch songs for a project, don't throw a bunch of mud up against the wall and hope some of it sticks. Meaning, don't pitch 10 songs for a project and just hope you get lucky. One of my favorite songwriters of all time, Dave Loggins, used to bring me one song at a time for a project. And the implication behind that was, Richard, I think I've got something special here. And I was inclined to listen pretty quickly because, one, it was Dave Loggins, but also because he was being considerate of my time.
You can learn more about NSAI by visiting NashvilleSongwriters.com. That's about all the time we have for this week's show. Don't forget those new fictional thriller novels we have up for grabs. We've even got Stuart to autograph a few copies of Murder on Music Row to give away. If you want to enter this week's drawing, you have to enter online at InsideMusicRow.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook too for all the latest news around town. We're going to leave you today with the very first #1 hit from Dierks Bentley, What Was I Thinking? Until next time, I'm Bailey for Inside Music Row, and I'll see you again real soon.